If you know anything about me, you know that one of my favorite hobbies is talking and playing retro video games. More specifically, over the last couple of years, I've really got into retro video game handhelds. And in today's video, I'm going to show you guys my collection, and I'm going to talk about each device that I have here, some of the pros, some of the cons, and these are different sizes as well too, depending on what you want to use this handheld for. And this is just going to sort of be a quick overview. If you want more information about the handhelds I'm about to talk about today, retro gaming has a huge community, especially when it comes to handhelds, and there's a lot of tutorials online. One of the channels I really recommend is Retro Game Corps. They not only have a great YouTube channel when it comes to tutorials, but they have a great website as well that you can follow along if you're interested in any of the handhelds I'm going to talk about here today. And let's start first with the smallest handheld I have, and that is the GKD Pixel 2. This is the most recent purchase I made, and I actually just bought this because of the backpacking trip I went on a few weeks ago. I wanted a really small device that I could play while I was backpacking, and I'd have something to do in between hiking. It's very high quality and metal, and it just looks really cool. This red color especially really stands out, but they have a number of different colors. The screen on this is very nice as well. It's got 4 buttons, D-pad, start and select, and shoulder buttons. It also has a volume button and a headphone jack. This is the easiest handheld to fit in your pocket. It doesn't take up too much space, and it can play up to PS1 and N64. The one thing I don't like about this device, though, is it takes forever to load when it comes to booting up and getting into games. By far, this is the slowest one, and that's just because of the chipset that's in there. That's something I'm willing to, bite the bullet on and use, because really it's all about just using your device. But that is one thing that I do find very annoying. The other thing that people might not like about this device is it comes out to around $100 Canadian. I think it's $76 US. It's a little bit more expensive than what you're used to paying for micro handhelds of a similar nature. But again, you're paying for that premium quality of not only the build of this, but the fact that this looks pretty sturdy. I brought this on my backpacking trip. I didn't have any issues with it, and it definitely did the job I needed it to do. Now, the next handheld we're going to talk about is the Miyoo Mini, the original one. This came out a number of years ago, and it still holds up. I like it so much. That's actually why I bought the GKD Pixel 2, because I was worried on my backpacking trip if I wrecked my handheld, I would be devastated, because unfortunately, they don't make this Miyoo Mini, the original version, anymore. They've since come out with 4 versions since then, and the most recent version doesn't have as nice of a screen as what you see here in the display. Now, this one has a very, very good screen. It fits very well in your pocket, and you can see this one kind of looks like a mini Game Boy. The thing I love about this, it's the exact opposite of the GKD Pixel 2. It is extremely fast, and that's thanks to the Onion OS operating system that you can load on here. It also has a cool feature where you can jump from game to game, even if you're in the middle of it, so it picks right off where you last played your game. This device is more for your 8-bit and 16-bit games, not things like N64 or PS1, but it is very good performance-wise, and the price back then was very good too. I got this in 2022. It cost me around $50. I wish they still made these. I'd probably buy a couple of them if I knew they were going to kind of go out of stock, because the new version they have now with the Miyoo Mini 4 is not as good as the original one I have here, and that's not something I knew at the time when I bought this. So in my opinion, this is a collector's item. This is a great device here, the Miyoo Mini. You can still buy them on eBay or in other places, but they're very hard to find now, and I honestly love it. I guess the only downside is the back comes off pretty easily. I got some hockey tape on here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the only con of it. But this is an amazing device, and I still use it all the time. The next one on this list is the Anbernic RG35XXSP. This is a cool clamshell handheld, which looks very similar to the Game Boy Advance SP. Now, the appeal of this one is you don't have to worry about your screen getting damaged, because you're actually able to fold it up and put it in your pocket. It's a little bit bigger than the Miyoo Mini, but it is great for the 8 and 16-bit games. It's tough to play anything higher like that just because there's no joysticks on here. It's only the D-pad and the 4 buttons. Costs around $60, and I'll be honest, I don't play this one as much just because of the next device I'm about to talk about here, but it does do the trick if you're looking for something that's easy and on the go. And one cool feature I do like about this is when you shut the clamshell down, it actually shuts off the device, which is really great. And then when you pop it back open, it loads up your game once again. So again, very quick and easy here. And I do recommend this device if you're looking for something that's clamshell style, although they do have versions out now that do have joysticks, and I tend to think that might be a better option if you're looking to play some of those PS1 or N64 games. This one I really enjoy a lot, and this is one of my go-to devices, and that's the TrimUI Brick. Now, this is another nice smaller handheld that comes with a ton of color options, and it has a plastic shell instead of a metal shell, but it does still feel very good and premium. It has 4 buttons, D-pad, start and select, and shoulder buttons. It also has a volume button and a headphone jack. The display on this thing is absolutely amazing. It's not AMOLED, but it's still very sharp and the colors really pop on it very well. The MIUI operating system on here is super fast and very easy to use. I actually really like the way this is all set up on here. And again, there's tutorials about this online, but it's very easy to load states, save states, go from one game to another. This is definitely my go-to device if I'm going out and about and I don't have to worry about holding too much in my pocket. I think the TrimUI Brick is a very good option, especially if you're just looking to get into retro gaming handhelds. This one comes in around $71 Canadian. American is going to be a little bit cheaper, but I really enjoyed this device. It does get a little bit warm after playing it, but that's maybe the only con about the TrimUI Brick. The rest of it is just awesome. Now let's talk about the Anbernic RG35XXSP. This was one of the first handhelds I ever bought and I still love it. I think I spent around $150 at the time Canadian when I bought this thing. I couldn't find the receipt. It has two joysticks, a nice D-pad, and feels very premium with that metal shell. The software on here is really great. It has video snaps for every single game. Your entire video game collection looks really nice and slick. It can play up to Dreamcast and is totally a solid option. The only issue with this thing and why I've decided to move on to other devices, the screen just isn't up to par with some of the stuff that's on the market now, but still, this is a great option and it's honestly a handheld I don't want to get rid of just because I like the way things are set up on here and it's a nice, easy go-to device if I'm just in another room and I want to play something. Now, let's talk about a step up from this model, and that's the Anbernic RG405M. This is very similar to the last one I just spoke about with a much bigger and sharper screen. This, in my opinion, is the perfect handheld if you're playing any 4x3 games. So these are games that are going to come in on like your Sega Genesis, Nintendo, Super Nintendo that are 4x3. If we're talking about games that are 16:9, it's not going to look as good on here, but the thing I love is that it fills up the entire screen. This one is also more powerful too. It can play up to PS2 flawlessly and even harder to use systems like Sega Saturn. It's got that premium metal shell, which I really like. It feels just very comfortable on your hands. I'm actually in the process of selling this device. I didn't really want to because the next device I'm going to talk about here shortly is the reason why I'm getting rid of it. But this is one that I've really enjoyed and loved. Just the one thing I don't like about this, and that's why I've upgraded, is it doesn't have that AMOLED screen. And that's kind of what I'm looking for now when it comes to playing retro games because we have advanced so much in the realm of retro handhelds. This one's a little bit higher, comes in at about $225 Canadian. But if you're a hardcore retro gamer, I think this is absolutely a solid option, especially if you're just playing 4x3 games. It's got the nice joysticks, very, very good feeling on your hands, and it just works out really well. Now, let's talk about the Retroid Pocket Mini version 2. So the version 1 that came out, the screen didn't look very good on this. Retroid actually went back and fixed the screen, so you'll see it actually fills up the entire device, which looks great. And it's one of the few handhelds that has an AMOLED screen, which just makes all the games really pop no matter what the lighting is. It's got two joysticks, 4 buttons, and a bunch of other buttons. And just the feel of this just feels very premium. It's not metal, but the plastic on here feels really great on your hands. I used this on a flight a couple weeks ago. It just feels awesome, and that screen is just so beautiful when you're playing all the old games. All those colors really get up-res and just looks very nice as you're playing it. It feels and looks like a premium device, and this right now is my go-to handheld. I play this more than any other device. It's the perfect size, and again, I just love that screen and just how premium it looks. It's honestly my favorite device that I'm using right now, and I'm so glad that Retroid made a second version of this because I think the first version with the smaller screen wouldn't have cut it for me. This one's a lot more expensive, coming in around $300 Canadian, but I use it so much, I honestly am getting my money's worth with how much I'm playing it right now. All right, and last but certainly not least is the Retroid Pocket 5. Now, I bought this before the Retroid Pocket Mini V2. This is a device you want to get if you want to get a little bit of retro gaming, but also some newer games, and you're not paying a premium price up to $1,000, which is what you're going to be paying for the Steam Deck or something like that as well, that also has the AMOLED screen. Now, this is the same layout as the Retroid Pocket Mini V2, but it kind of looks just like a bigger, skinnier phone. This can play up to the Nintendo Switch. The Retroid Pocket Mini version 2 only plays up to GameCube or Wii. This plays Nintendo Switch, it plays Wii U, and this AMOLED screen is just absolutely beautiful. Now, I did end up buying a separate grip, which makes playing games a little bit easier. If you play it without the grip, it's still playable, but I find your hands get a little bit sore. This new grip on here, yes, it makes it a lot bigger, but it's so much more enjoyable playing games, especially some of those higher end games like the Nintendo Switch or the Wii U games. I find this is a really good option, and this costs about $30 to get the grip. You can find them anywhere. This is my premium device. I think eventually I will get a Steam Deck, but for now, I love the fact that I can play up to Nintendo Switch on this device. This comes in a lot more expensive here. You're spending around $330 Canadian, But if you're comparing it to something like the Steam Deck, it is certainly a much cheaper option and you can still play those retro games on there. So I wanted to do a quick summary here. I went over a lot of things here. I want to tell you about what I use each device for. So if I'm heading out and I don't want something bulky with me, the Miyoo Mini or the TrimUI Brick is definitely my go-to device. If I'm just, going out for a couple hours, I'm going to be waiting at a doctor's appointment, this is the device I like bringing with me because it's not going to be too bulky in my pocket. If I'm going on a trip or traveling, like my recent business trip, I had a 4-hour flight, I bring the Retroid Pocket Mini V2. This is a great device. It's not too big. And again, that AMOLED screen just makes all the difference. I think it really looks awesome there. If I'm at home, I'm definitely playing the Retroid Pocket 5. This is great if I'm just sitting on the couch. I would bring this on a trip if I'm not packing too much. It certainly would be a good option. It's not too big like the Steam Deck is, but honestly, if I'm going on a trip where I am packing a lot of luggage, I tend to go more for the Retroid Pocket Mini V2 because that to me is kind of the best of both worlds. You're still getting pretty high performance on this one, but you're also getting that AMOLED screen as well. So if you got any questions about this, let me know. Again, this is a fun hobby of mine on the side. I'm probably gonna in the future sell some of these and get some new ones. This is just how I am. I love sort of being a nerd in that regard as far as the retro gaming community. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer any of them in the comments here. And let me know if you want to see more in-depth stuff with these handhelds. I just wanted to do a quick overview in this video. And again, there's other channels out there that do a much better job of going through each device specifically. My name is James Lynch. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and thanks so much for tuning in.